Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Wishing you a happy and sunny Sunday over here from Helsinki, Finland, which is actually rather sunny. Got my morning walk in, so we're ready to go. And no coffee today. Actually, no coffee for the past 2 days. So let's see how it goes right now. We're going to be doing a bit of long-term analysis today, as we do have not just a Sunday, but we also got a monthly and a quarterly closure coming this week. And we already got the weekly closure for CME and the weekly to close for spot price action a little bit later today at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. Chewing on my words right there. My apologies for that. Anyways, should we address what's on the top end dashboard for the Krown application? Yeah, we got a few things of interest right here. Bitcoin dominance continuing to go up, which is what you would expect if Bitcoin USD is typically going down. Not always when Bitcoin USD is going up, however, but in this case, this is going to be a Bitcoin-led move, whether you like it or not. On the whole, of course, there are certainly several altcoins that are doing their own thing, several altcoins even making new all-time highs, which is incredibly powerful and important to be paying attention to. But in general, we're talking right now. Anyways, as far as that goes, fear and greed index is back into the somewhat actually fearful zone right now. 28 is the lowest levels, or around the lowest levels that we have seen really in the last couple months here. So this is of interest as well. Everything's red across the top end dashboard as you would expect, and open interest actually coming down alongside price action coming down as well. So what does that essentially imply? If open interest coming down and price action is coming down, well, someone's taking their positions off now, aren't they? Anyways, with that in mind, I will actually go straight into the price action charts themselves right now, because this might be a little bit of a longer video. We'll see where this one ends up. So with that in mind, let's get into it right now. And I would like to wish you the best once again. Anyways, in case if I missed it to begin with. Okay, so yesterday I did say that Bitcoin very likely going to play out a bit of a short-term downside move. However, I wouldn't necessarily be looking for like a general break over the weekend. And we're sort of getting the same thing right on over here. If you were back around in 2017, 2018, you probably remember this one right here. Doesn't this look familiar? Oh, the good old BART formation, the good old BART pattern. By the way, if you're a trader coming from a different area, whether it be traditional or Forex, whatever the fuck, just not crypto, and you're new to crypto, this one's gonna be fucking great if it's your first time, because this is like, you know, we've really only seen a couple of them in like the last few months here, but basically it'll print like a bearish pattern, you know, initially kind of break down with it, in this case probably back down around about 41,000 bucks, and then have a nice little pump back up from there. So with that in mind, you know, while this is not necessarily looking like the picture of health and fitness, I would not necessarily say that this is going to be breaking down or likely to break down over the weekend. And what do we have right here? We have the same levels essentially as yesterday, which is going to be playing off the 12-hour, actually, the 12-hour 200 moving average right here, and also the 236 Fibonacci retracement, actually, if you do want to get the tops out of the current short-term time frame consolidation. So that's a range that Bitcoin's in. If Bitcoin does pop back down around here, I would be looking for a bounce anywhere around about $41,000 low. With that in mind, any sort of a bounce that does actually get back above pretty much this high right here at about 43,000 on an hourly, or if you're looking at a 4-hour right here, I'd be looking at about well, pretty much the same level as well, especially on a closing basis. I would look for Bitcoin to put in one more rally, at the very least extend it to you know, a little bit more than $1,000 all the way up to the 55 right here, just above 44,000 bucks. And then at that point, that's where things start to get a lot more interesting for the short-term time frames. Now we'll get into long-term analysis soon enough, but I do want to address this first, because there is actually a lot of very interesting things going on right here. So essentially, if Bitcoin does clear back above the 236, I would look for it to extend that rally, you know, another $1,000 or so. The question is, does Bitcoin actually extend that rally back above the last local high that we did see back on over here on the 23rd of September, which was 3 days ago, actually, right alongside the 382 Fibonacci retracement as well. If that happens, I'd actually extend targets a little bit more here. Again, same thing as yesterday, back to about 47,000 bucks. But again, as long as Bitcoin is operating below the $48,000 high right here, you know, all of this is just, well, lower lows and lower highs. And what is that? That is a trend. And is a trend your friend? Well, it can be. It can be if you let it be. It can be your best friend if you just let it be. But the problem is that we always kind of fight alongside of it. And of course, this was confirmed more than a week ago now. So with that in mind, you know, understand how, well, these things are just likely to continue until they don't. Anyways, do we have any lower term time frame momentum also to be aware of right now? Yep, hidden bearish evidence on 4-hour RSI. Not a super great signal right there, to be fair. You know, usually you kind of want to see it in a little bit more of an obvious sense, but in this case, we do see a bit of a corrective move right here. We see that BBWP is trending down alongside some short-term time frame momentum also is pointing down. So that's also why I do say that this is probably not going to break if it does test back down around the current lows, anywhere around about 41,000 bucks, maybe even as deep as $40,000 even. I'd be looking for a bounce yet again. And if we go down to the other lower term time frames, see if they have anything of particular interest here as well. Yeah, volatility is actually turning up, and you would expect that on an hourly right here. And we do actually have a more obvious, entry on that hidden bearish evidence right there. So it's already kind of played out for about 600 bucks, it looks like. I think that this one could go a little bit more. Anyways, I do want to check out Stokes over here as well, and then we'll get into some more fun stuff soon enough. But 4-hour Stokes is going to be downside angled as long as we are below 42,500. Bi hourly is going to be freshly crossing down as long as we're below, well, 42,500 yet again. And hourly is also down as long as we are below 42,300 or so. So here's the thing. Also keep in mind that CME did close the week at 42,500. So I suspect that Bitcoin probably finds its way around there, around the time that CME opens a little bit later today at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, I believe it is. So keep an eye on that one. I don't think that we're going to see anything like majorly outside of the range until CME opens back up. And personally speaking, wouldn't really be looking for anything outside of the range until we get US Open tomorrow, which is going to be 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So if I have that right, man, it's difficult for me to remember this now. I was operating in Chicago though, so it was 8:30, I believe. So yeah, that should be right because they were like an hour ahead of us. Whatever it was, years ago, man. Too long. It's too fucking long. My memory's fading me. Maybe with the maybe I'm not helping that as well. Anyways, okay, so we got that. Pretty damn simple stuff right there. Is there anything on the 12-hour that we want to be aware of? No, basically same ranges right there. Daily, what do we see right here? Still hanging on the 200 exponential average. I don't really have too much faith in it right here, but fair enough. We are about to get a silver cross to the downside, and I believe I uploaded a video on this yesterday into the TA program. That goes over a variation of this, which I'm actually rather proud of. But I got to go check in with Mournfall that he's actually uploaded it so far. Anyways, if the 21 crosses the downside of the 55, that should be good enough to send this one a little bit lower. Of course, that also does mean that as long as Bitcoin's governed by the 55 right here, which guess where it is? Guess where it is? It's right at Bitcoin's last little lower high right here at 45,000 bucks, or just below there. I do look at this as more likely to trade to the downside. Again, if Bitcoin takes it out, send targets a little bit more, 47. And at that point, Bitcoin could actually do something, what dare I say, a bear trap. And it was actually really, really good feedback yesterday. I really appreciate the people in the comment section who were giving me some feedback because it was kind of like getting on my nerves a little bit that apparently some people, I guess maybe they misheard me or maybe didn't do the best job of explaining myself. But, when I talk about bear traps, they have to be confirmed first. How does this one get confirmed? Above 48,000 bucks. And then it seems like the majority of people certainly understood that. So that's great. That's awesome. And it seems like, as always, it's a fucking internet. I don't need to make a comment on it. Anyways, we still see volatility increasing over here. We are certainly above 50 percentile now. And well, we got lower lows and lower highs. It's that simple right now. Anyways, yes, so that means I would get bullish, and I would say that this is going to be one massive, dare I say, bear trap back above 48,000 bucks, but only above 48,000 bucks. Short term, medium term would look good back above 45,000 bucks. So understand the differential between the short term time frames, the medium term time frames, and the high and the macro time frames, obviously, of which we've not really gotten into just yet. Buy daily, did we close anything? Oh man, that's an ugly one, sir. Yeah, I'd even go as far as saying as long as Bitcoin's below 45, this one very likely comes down to mid to low $30,000 territory. Which I want to address something as well, because that is obviously going to come into collision with the blue buy signal on the hash ribbons indicator that we had a couple months ago. 5-day, yep, not the best looking chart right there as well. And weekly coming into the closure right here too. We have a phantom drive of div. It's not like usually when I see something like this, it's not like a death sentence, but it usually is good enough to get one more move. On top of that, it's also rejection of the exponential and also the bullish control zones simultaneously. So with all of that in mind, keep in mind that the weekly is, well, as of this week, now officially, even if you're the most conservative trader, in a downtrend. I mean, we do have a high right here. We have a low right here. We have a lower high right here. And sorry, this low is a lower low than this low, albeit very, very minute. So barring any sort of act of God before end of day, to bring this back above, sorry, here's our weekly right here, to bring this really back above about 45,000 bucks at the very minimum. I do think that Bitcoin comes down to the mid to low $30,000 territory right here. And I know that the people in general don't like to hear about bearish things, but this channel is for traders, and well, it is what it is. Again, short-term timeframes, they can, they can certainly have their bounces, no doubt about that. But well, I'll just leave it right there. And again, be aware of the ranges. I don't need to put my opinion on it. It's it's pretty well defined as far as that goes. And it's definitely possible that Bitcoin does pop back above 45,000 bucks by end of day today. Possible. I don't think it's the most likely thing to happen, but it's definitely possible. Everything's fucking possible. It's also possible to go to fucking zero as well, right? It's just not very likely. Anyways, okay, cool. We got all of that. We looked at the lower term time frame momentum oscillators over here. I just want to see what the 12 hours at. Oh, no. 43,750, the magical number on this one, and daily will actually pop up above 40,500. So again, as long as Bitcoin's not closing, especially below that level, even 41,000 bucks, I don't think it breaks down just yet. I think you get one more bounce, maybe even all the way to 46, 47, definitely possible. But overall, well, I'll just leave it right there. All right, cool. It should be known, though. We do have a nice trend line right here, so there's definitely a possibility, but it's a long day left to go, and 40,500, a magic number. If that does get closed below, then no, I would look for continuation first. Next target would be, somewhere around your prior low in this case, somewhere around about just above 38,000 bucks, probably another bounce around there. I do not think that things would stop here, however. I'm very, very adamant about that as well. If Bitcoin breaks down and really starts to accelerate here, we're very, very likely to see CME gap filled from a couple months ago, actually more than a couple months ago, July of the 23rd. The 23rd of July is what I'm trying to say. Anywhere between about 32 to 33,000 bucks. Okay, cool. So we got that out of the way. And again, would negate that back above 48,000 bucks, obviously, on higher term timeframes, but even back above 45,000 bucks, I'd still give it a chance from there as well. So it's going to be a long week, I suspect. Okay, cool. Speaking of, let's get into this over here. Should we start off with some hopium or some doomium? I don't know. What should we start off with today? Good question to ask myself as I fucking have this very one-sided conversation. Again, you can just see all the fibs being played off right here. This is CME chart, but same thing. And yeah, we do have the 236 actually just below 38,000 bucks. So I'd probably be looking for a continuation move there if Bitcoin were to close below about 41 today, or 40,500 to be exact. Then yes, I'd be looking for a continuation move here, probably bounces from there, and probably a decent bounce, tradable bounce, probably into the low $40,000 territory once again, before the next potential lower high. Anyways, daily jewel was kind of the tell on this one as well. Getting the downside signal right here, the DMI in the background telling you that this was not going to be a good long signal, and so the short signal takes over, and it is essentially a hot or short signal for right now. Anyways, all right, so we got all of that. Let's go into the fun stuff now. Let's do some long-term analysis here. Okay, so first and foremost, I do want to say with the quarterly closure coming up later this week on Thursday, if Bitcoin does close above 44,000 bucks, I will be bullish coming into the end of this year. Bullish for new all-time highs actually as well. And for what it's worth right now, the bulls still do have a lot of good things going for them. And even if Bitcoin does come down, and I really want to be on record as saying this, even if Bitcoin were to come down to 32 to 33,000 bucks, I do not think that it would go lower. I do think that Bitcoin has bottomed out for the long term here. And if Bitcoin were to go lower than 30,000 bucks, then hey, this thing is going to be so fucking wrecked that it's not worth talking about for like the next probably 3 to 4 years if I had to guess. It's essentially what I'm kind of postulating right here is that we do something like this at worst. Where is it? Yep, it'd be something like, hey, I just have this chart from yesterday. I guess not. Well, we'll do it right here. All right, there we go. Essentially what I'm postulating is at worst, Bitcoin does something like this, kind of the same chart that I had from months ago, something like that, down to the 55 and then boom, back out. I think that would be a pretty damn good move. I mean, this is, over the long term shaping up to be accumulation, but it is a weekly range at the same time. Anyways, okay, cool. Okay, so we got that. Actually, I need to put back a MACD on my charts because I haven't done this in a long time. And let's do this. So bi-weekly, or actually now that I recognize it, the weekly MACD is about to cross down. Motherfucker, get that damn brush out of my damn charts. Yeah, it's crossing back down, obviously losing momentum actually as of 3 weeks ago. So that would have been a good tell as well. In fact, I completely missed that one because I took the MACD off my charts. Maybe hubris is speaking right now. No, let's go to the bi-weekly right here. Okay, so I want to mark off a few things. Go to this more long-term chart right here. Bi-weekly MACD just seems to have some very interesting signals right here, as we will discuss. We get a few downside crosses throughout the history of Bitcoin. Again, ignore this one. I forget what that's in reference to, but it's not what we're going to be talking about right now. So we'll be looking at this one, that one, and that one. All right, cool. So I marked all these off. And by the way, we got another biweekly MACD crossing the downside relatively recently. All right, so let's just kind of go over the historical relevancy of this back on to March 2014, where we got our first biweekly MACD cross the downside actually right here. This was off of a corrective bounce after the first major downside move from your parabolic blow off top in 2013, end of 2013 that is. It bases off the 20 simple right here, that white moving average up into the 9, rejects, comes back down, pops back above, and that is your bull trap before going much lower actually over the next half year or so, 77% actually. Then we get one more over here now, don't we? We get one right in February 2018, where same thing, Bitcoin bounced off the 20 simple into the 9, bases back around the 20 simple again, and then gets rejected by the 9, and then we go down, down, down over the next almost year, about 69% or so, great number. Anyways, same thing over here as well in 2019, October actually, where, guess what? Based off the 20 simple, bounce up into the 9, rejection, and down to the 55. Another bounce yet again, and then comes down lower on a closing base, about 51%. And then we got another one right here actually. This one happening way over here. So again, based off the 20 simple, bounce above the 9, and so far it's been a rejection, a failure. This one's actually closing, by the way, today at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and any sort of a closure at all below 42,000 bucks. Yeah, this one's very likely to get sent to the bottom of the $30,000 territory. You know, if we were to look at that move, that would be about a 50% move almost. Just out of curiosity, what would a 70% move look like, as that also seems to come up rather frequently? That'd actually be 15,000 bucks. I don't think that that's going to happen here. You know, but then again, my opinion is fucking irrelevant on this shit. Bitcoin's going to do what it's going to do. I wouldn't necessarily be looking for something like that, especially as long as Bitcoin's above 32,000 bucks on a weekly closing base. We'll call it that. So yes, you know, we do have the same signal over here, and momentum is starting to increase to the downside yet again. So that would be a not the best setup if you want to be, you know, bullish, right? And what else do we have to look at other than that? Do we have, oh yes, okay, this one's nasty as well. All right, so I marked off this area on the ADR, and you'll notice that this area likes to correct, you know, depending upon what sort of a market you're in, whether it's a bull market or a bear market. But on a bull market, this is where you typically get your corrections. On a bear market, this is also where you typically get your corrections. And what do we see right here? You know, the last time we saw this get hit was in the context of a bull market. Actually got your lows, or sorry, got your highs right here before a nice consolidation. Right now, we just hit it yet again, and I wouldn't necessarily say this is not a bear market, but it is an inflection point, no doubt about that. It seems to be very, very consistent with it. Same thing over here coming out of this consolidation. You know, same thing over here out of this consolidation as well. All of these obviously bullish. But in this case, you know, I mean, I do think that this is going to be macro bullish, just short term very likely comes back down as well. Anyways, another thing to be aware of over here in the fundamentals, some that I have been, well, I typically don't look at it unless if it's like at the very beginning of the month or at the very end of the month, and we're coming to the end of the month right here, the accumulation distribution indicator, of which I only care about the slope on this on the monthly, and I only care about the slope. I do not care about the color. The color is irrelevant. It's Christmas piece of shit right here. Sorry. Christmas is great. It's amazing. But I just had a bad childhood. So what's the problem there, man? Anyways, and again, I don't think that trend lines really matter on this, although it seems like they actually would be pretty damn good. So maybe something worth considering. But all slope changes on this have been accompanied by macro shifts in direction. Let me give you an example. The last time we saw a slope shift was way back on over here in May 2020. What was that? That was coming out of the coronavirus dump times, all the way from about 8,500 all the way to 6,500 over here. And where did we get our downside slope actually more recently? Coming out of July into August, actually. So on this bounce thus far right here. Obviously, the time before that was January 2020 right here. That literally told you leading into the month of the coronavirus dump. So before the coronavirus dump times, the macro direction was coming back down, and this one tested all the way down to the 55, which is interesting. Anyways, what did we see before that? Way back on over here, January 2019. This one essentially calls lows at 3,400, goes all the way up to 14,000 bucks after that. Not bad. The time before that was on the bull trap in March 2018 right here. Obviously, we get a negative slope right after that. And well, for the next year, just straight down. Before that, there is, no, this was still a corrected move right here and did actually produce a pretty nice downside move, in fact. So something like this. Yeah, about 43%. Okay, so that does count. Works right there again. Yep, it's infallible. So, I mean, it's pretty damn good. But also does call the August 15 lows right here at about $200 before going to $20,000 a couple years later. Same thing on this one over here, calls the top, and you know, you can go on onwards and forwards from there. Also calls the lows over here as well. All right, and what are we doing right now? Well, we've been negatively sloped ever since July, going into now October. So with that in mind, that does imply that, you know, we're likely to pull back a little bit more, and most of these pullbacks have been, you know, I mean, on a closing basis, maybe it's not so bad right here for this one. Yeah, this one was only like a 30% move right there. And this one over here was a 40% move. So it doesn't necessarily imply like a humongous move. I mean, these are humongous moves, but they're not like a 70 to 80% move as we have seen in the past. And just on a closing base right here, what would 30% put us at? Oh, what do you fucking know? 32,500 or so. Rather interesting now, isn't it? Anyways, okay, going back on over here. What would be the Bula Hopium? And why do I not think that Bitcoin is actually going to go lower? A lot of reasons for that, in fact. Let me pull up this. I believe it's on this chart right here. Yeah, okay, here we go. Oh, by the way, we also got the weekly 21 meme, which is actually, you know, relevant here as well. And where is that at right now? 43,400. That sounds like a relevant number. And why is that relevant? Well, if we take everything off really quickly here, which I will not do so quickly, but here we go. We can see that over the totality of history for Bitcoin, you know, anytime that it's above the yellow 21 and the 21 has a positive slope, those are your bull markets. It gets you long all the way from 14 cents or 19 cents and tells you to dump it over here at 10 and a quarter. Maybe even go short if you're a little bit more cavalier with your trading and capture this move over here. Then again, regains the 21 right here, gets a positive slope that takes you all the way from $5 to 1,000. Not bad, not a bad trade. Tells you to short over here, again, long over here at 250, all the way up to 20,000. And then same thing, short at 10,000, all the way down to 4,000. And then same thing over here from 4 to 14, and so on and so forth. Anyways, if Bitcoin does close below the 43,400 level, it will be broken yet again, and we will have a downward slope on it, actually, especially if we close below $42,000 today. And that should be good enough, I do think, to get this thing down somewhere into the mid to low $30,000 territory. Anyways, what was I just about to address? Yes, why do I not think that this is actually gonna, like, why do I not think that this is game over? Well, first and foremost, I mean, if the quarterly closes above, like I said, you know, $44,000 right here, especially 44.5, that would, you know, I'm just gonna be bullish off that. You know, if it closed back above the top side trailing band, I'm just gonna be bullish, like it's that simple. But also a few other things. Okay, so just in a more strange sense, anytime on the quarterly when the wick of the prior quarterly low has not been violated, meaning that, you know, in this case over here, this is a violation. So we have a wick low right here at $400. This one comes lower at 340. That is a violation right there. That has been a trend reversal, in this case to the downside. But anytime that you have rising wicks, well, the next quarter has always been up, so to speak. You know, we can start it back on over here. Up. We take out the bottom side wick right here, correction, up, and that gives you the whole way through. You know, all of those wicks are higher, and all of these wicks are higher, and all of these wicks are higher, by the way, as well. Even though these ones look very, very close to each other, I can assure you that they are not. 27,741 was your January quarterly low. Your April quarterly low was 28,754 spot 40, and your current quarterly low, I mean, barring any sort of like, you know, massive girthy red dildo party, is 29,292 spot 73. So we still got that rise in wicks over here, and then also closing above the top side trailing band, which would look very, very good to me coming into end of year. Probably not like for the beginning of October, right? But this would very obviously be accumulation. Anyways, a few other things that I think are important here as well. If we go over here to the Bitcoin log curve zones, what is going on right now? Well, you can see that Bitcoin likes to play within these certain zones, well, in like a nice, lovely fashion, actually. Let me take this off for right now. And you can see that the green zone typically is where you see your accumulation after a blow off top in the red zone, and your yellow zone is sort of like your mid-cycle consolidation, if you will. It's worked pretty damn well since the dawn of time, and you can see that Bitcoin actually has not made it to the red zone on this cycle just yet. And by the way, the top side of that would be at around $130,000 USD. Anyways, right now Bitcoin is consolidating within the yellow zone, and if we got another move down somewhere around the top side of the the green zone, similar to what we had over here, very likely does bounce it yet again. I mean, we do see that area act as support, and this would be considered like your mid-cycle consolidation for what it's worth. You just want to see a wick down there, and then very likely close somewhere in the higher $30,000 territory. Of course, Bitcoin starts to close back down below the green zone. Well, at that point, I'd be looking for a move all the way down, I guess to low $20,000 territory. Again, I don't think it's what's happening right here, but I suppose that would be the prognosis for now. Anyways, what else do we want to look at right here? Well, something that's a little more important here too. Oh shit, it's actually not on this chart. Maybe it's on this chart over here. Maybe it's on this one. Oh no, it's on the long-term Fib analysis. That's what it's on. Okay, I know where it's at now. I know where you are, you fuck. I know where you are. Here we go. All right, beautiful. Okay. Yes, this is it, I believe. Yes, it is. Okay. So here, what I've done is I put a Fibonacci retracement on every cycle going back to the Genesis, and this is defined by essentially weekly trends. And what I found is that even going all the way back to 2010 over here, all weekly cycles have essentially after breaking the highs of the accumulation, have essentially based off on the next cycle at the 1.414 extension or around it, very, very close to it. This is, by the way, on log scale for Fibs and also log scale and chart as well. Anyways, this first one over here, this is your 2010 to end of 2010 area essentially. And then Bitcoin gets a nice move up. Where does it base off of? Right here, right around the 1.414 actually. That'd be more around the 1.618, but very, very close within this regard. Same thing on this one over here from 2010 to 2011. Where's your spike low? Right here yet again. Where's our spike low coming in on 2011 to 2012 cycle right here? Well, yet again, the 1.414, boom, getting the low. Same thing for this cycle from 2011 to 2012. And I did the same sort of extension right here. And actually, these should actually be the 1618 is what they should be. And I don't know why it's not showing it in there. Maybe it didn't say it from before, which is very frustrating, but okay. All right, my OCD is disturbing me right now, and I want it to be right. Do this one over here. Save. It's more like the 1618, not the 1414, especially where these are. There we go. All right, lovely. There we go. Do these ones match up a little bit better? Yes. Oh, perfect. Okay. 1618, boom, right there, low. 1618, boom, right there, low. We need to do it for this one as well. But let's see. And here we go. The 1618 moment of truth, boom, right there. That's your low. This one over here, 1618. All right. This one is 1619, but again, spike low right there. Boom. This one over here, same thing. Coming in at the 1414, about the same essentially. And then this one over here from 2014 to 2018 cycle essentially. And where do our lows come in around? Well, sir. Show me a 1618. Boom, right there, right around your $3,100 low. And same thing over here as well. We actually have based off of the 1.414 thus far. So with that in mind, I do look at this as like kind of a mid-cycle base for right now. Until that gets broke. And if it does get broke, then I suppose I'd be looking at low $20,000 territory. Is essentially what I'd be saying right there. Anyways, how deep into this video are we? 28 minutes. Is this 28 minutes too long? Perhaps yes. Let me throw these back on over here, and then we'll see if we can find any more fun stuff. I think that might actually be it for now on the 200 simple as well. Let's see where's the weekly 55 coming in at 36,000 bucks. And again, as long as Bitcoin's above the weekly 55, I'm not going to be like macro bearish. Look at this as a reaccumulation. What else? Oh yes, okay. I do want to address this as well. Nasdaq also kind of helping out, the general world, I guess, having a phenomenal Friday bounce. Of course, everyone's talking about the Everground news right now. Look, and a lot of people have asked me about my opinion about the Everground news. I am not a fundamental analyst. I'm not an economist, although I do have an economics degree. I don't think that anyone truly understands like the totality of of everything moving in the market. It's just too fucking complicated for any one person to understand. And economists are notoriously just wrong about this to begin with. But what I can tell you is my experience in trading. And my experience in trading is that typically when you hear these situations like Everground get spoken about, you know, on your major news stations, and it becomes like very common conversation and like boring conversations, I guess. But like, you know, people are aware of it. You're usually very close to the end of the, you know, the end of that move. And in this case right here, you know, people are very much aware of it right now. I mean, everyone's fucking talking about it. You know, it's like, it's no secret, right? It's no fucking secret. Kind of similar to the flu dump that we had from a couple years ago. Sorry, I have to say flu dump because if you say the other word, the C word, YouTube does not like that. And they let you know that they don't like it either, which is kind of funny. Kind of scares the shit out of me, actually. It's like, what the fuck? You guys can sift through like hours of me talking and find one fucking word? Jesus Christ. That is scary. So, you know, typically when you see something like that, you've either already seen the result of it, or it's within like a couple weeks of it. And we saw the same thing in like March 2020, actually. You know, when did people start talking about it? End of February. When did the dump happen? Early March. And then, you know, people kept on talking about it, and everyone was trying to like short this fucking generational move to the upside right here. We were like, no, man, this is bullish as fuck, especially as soon as Bitcoin got, or not Bitcoin, but now it's got back above 79 to $8,000. We're like, bullish, obviously. Just correction down to the 200 right now. And this one, you know, is our first test down to the 21 in months, which is a good thing to be having. And at the very least, while I do think that some cracks are showing on this, and I do think that traditional markets are setting up for a 15 to 20% correction, probably off the backs of this, is probably going to get blamed for it. But, you know, this has been baking in for a long time, I do believe. At least Monday, I'd probably be looking for first move up. Is that going to help out Bitcoin? Probably yes. Now, if NASDAQ does come back down below about $15,000, that's at the point where I'd say that we're getting ready for the correction down somewhere around like mid 14s, or probably mid 14s if I had to guess. And that's probably going to bring Bitcoin down as well, I'd imagine. So with all of that in mind, we do see some cracks showing here, but at least short term, I do expect that this one will try another move up. And if it does try another move up, Bitcoin probably gets another chance. So that would also be kind of like your short term time frame hopium here, if we do kind of peruse around the different time frames. And this is really starting to shape up as a fucking BART, isn't it? I mean, look at this right here. It might not even get the $41,000 move first. Anyways, with all of that said, you know, I would essentially confirm it as a BART back above about $43,000 and look for that move at the very least just above 44. And then, hey, it'll have a chance, you know, to be right in striking distance of 45. And if it starts to take out that, then this looks a lot better in the short term. And that would be beautiful coming into the end of this quarter as well. But with all of that said, oh, I did miss one thing. I missed a big one right here. Mr. Legend Ali is going to call this one out too. I fucking know it. But yeah, this would be the 5-day Gaussian channel. And, you know, Bitcoin's had a nice, lovely relationship with it for a very long time. Lovely if you're a trader, maybe not so much on the other end. But basically, what do we typically see on this? Anytime that we have seen a correction into the Gaussian channel after being away from it for a while, typically that has been, you know, well, led to a deeper correction, we'll say. We can go back to this one over here. Obviously is away from it for a while. Basis off the top side, boom, rally. It's your same sort of thing over here. Comes all the way to the bottom side of it, boom, that's the same thing over here. Pops back up around the top side of it, boom, that's the same thing over here. And then your dump-ola party actually soon after that. Same thing over here. Bounce off the top side of it, boom, that's the same thing right there. Then works its way into the median and tests the bottom side of it, boom, bounce back up, and down we go. Just ignore that. Let's see this one over here, same thing, bounce off the top side of it, boom to the median, bounce to the top side of it again, and failure. And then yeah, that's pretty much it for that. So again, another thing a little bit more on the bearish scale of things. And of course, you know, if Bitcoin does break below the median band of this at 40,200 or so, you know, I'd be looking for a move somewhere down around the bottom side of it. I mean, that's typically how you play these sorts of things. Again, it's not really playable until you actually break below it, but you know, where does that leave the hash ribbons indicator? Because that is something that I haven't spoken about yet, and that's maybe what we can end on here as well. Okay, so I've gone through the whole rigmarole on the hash ribbons indicator a million goddamn times. I marked off all of the hash ribbon signals right here with these vertical blue lines. Let me just go to a weekly so you can see all of them. And I've essentially found through my analysis that Anytime that we've printed a blue buy signal on the hash rate indicator, this might be even easier to see with a line chart. Bitcoin's essentially never closed below there again. That doesn't mean that it can't test below there. It can test below there on on a wick, obviously, but we've never seen a closure below there. Should I say on a weekly in this case? On a weekly, certainly. On a daily, I think there are a few iterations where that is not true. So, could it be that we get a nice wick down here and then pop back above 38,000 bucks? Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, honestly. Even the weekly accumulation distribution indicator actually still remains positively sloped here, which is rather interesting. Anyways, with that said, I've also found that through that analysis that the general drawdown from the prior low is typically around about 7% on average. I've seen it as much as 20% from prior lows, and I've also seen it as close as like less than 1%, but it's always been higher. So in this case, we'd really not expect a closure below about 38,000 bucks if that's going to hold true. Now, does it always hold true? Like I said, no. There is one iteration even on the weekly where that is not true, and that is right here, coronavirus dump times actually. Oh fuck, I said it again. The flu dump. Right here where obviously this one's marked off as a blue buy signal, and then we close well below at 5,400 actually about a month or two later. So worth considering right there, if we're going to have some sort of a black swan event, which is possible. I mean, that's why they're fucking black swans, right? They're just low probability. Then, that something like that could repeat. But what eventually happened after that? It was an absolutely fucking phenomenal, long-term trade if you're looking at it from that vein. So I do think that there's going to be a lot of opportunity here in the months to come. The real question is, how do we close this goddamn quarterly closure above 44,000 bucks? I think that that's probably it. I think that Bitcoin works its way back out of here and all good in the hood. But until that happens, I do see a lot more downside angled things than upside angled things, which is in contrast to what we saw. Well, actually, no, that's kind of what we saw, before as well. I'm sure people are also calling this falling pizza as well. Not. I mean, these fucking falling pizza? It's not even a fucking falling pizza to begin with. It's like, which one do you drop from, this one or this one? It'd actually be neither, because the volume signature is wrong on both of them, in fact. Anyways, I'm going to leave that right there. Again, be aware of the ranges. That's basically the only way that I trade anyway. So, all of this is just for funsies right here. But I'll be signing off now. I'm going to go eat a shit ton of food because I'm massively hungry. I want to salute you. I want to wish you well. And take care, and until next time.